With the National Assembly set to resume plenary, we bring you an update on goings-on during the recess, including committee meetings. Now, the House is also expected to be engaged with work on the electoral reform. So, we spoke with one of the members on what to expect. These and more on this edition of You and Your Reps. Welcome. My name is Victor Azu. The House Committee on the Petroleum Industry Bill hosted a public hearing where stakeholders made their input on the 15-year-old bill. House correspondent Lamia Lee has this report.
The Petroleum Industry Bill was transmitted to the National Assembly in September 2020 from the Executive. This is after its aborted journey in successive governments for the past 20 years. Speaker House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila at the public hearing says the PIB will be passed by the House by April 2021 and the draft will protect the interests of Nigeria and Nigerians as the world moves towards renewable energy.
The truth remains that modernizing and diversifying our economy away from the over-reliance on income from fossil fuels becomes a matter of great urgency with each passing day. The irony, of course, is that to do this, we must first make sure our oil and gas industry is more productive, more efficient, and more profitable at a time of declining global profitability.
The petroleum industry bill, when passed into law, will bring about the much-needed reform in the oil industry, entrench efficiency and transparency in both upstream and downstream sectors, and bring operations at par with international standards.
Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Timipe Silva, the Group Managing Director of Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Mele Kyari, and the Executive Secretary, Federal Inland Revenue Service, Mohammed Nami, highlighted the advantages of the legislation to the government and host communities.
The bill is designed to guarantee early revenues for government, clarify roles, and simplify administration of the sector.
We have a huge population that is growing. We have 70% of our population below the age of 30, and then the future is really great. And what we can do today is to focus on people in our midstream and downstream. That means, bringing more gas into our domestic market.
Tax administration of the oil and gas industry will also change, in particular, this fiscal of the upstream sector, where the dual tax regime, hydrocarbon tax, and the company's income tax will be adopted for the first time in the history of Nigeria.
The public hearing will end on Thursday. Contributions at this assembly of stakeholders from both the public and private sector will expectedly highlight the potentials of the oil and gas industry for maximum benefits.
Meanwhile, there has been a significant reduction of gas flaring in Nigeria in the last couple of years, from 65% down to about 12%. The House of Representatives Committee on Gas Resources, during an interaction with Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas, suggested that more opportunities be created as byproducts can be reused in other industries. Again, National Assembly correspondent Lamia Ali was there.
The Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas is a public-private joint venture, 49% of which is owned by the federal government. Nigeria ranks number 9 globally among countries with huge gas reserves and is currently the 6th largest exporter of the resource. The House Committee on Gas Resources at this meeting with the Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Company Limited noted NLNG's immense contribution to the economy through revenue generation, development of technology and research, in addition to job creation. It was of the opinion that now is the time to strategically reposition it in order to harness its potentials.
The House Committee on Gas Resources is committed to supporting initiatives
that will aid to accelerate investments in the production and processing gas with a view to consolidating Nigeria's gas export opportunities and, more importantly, to enhance massive gas penetration and utilization of the domestic market.
The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of NLNG, Tony Atta, said the domestic gas consumption is put at 1 million tons per annum and is projected to triple in the next 5 years.
It's easy to see how competition has come in, supply is growing, and the market is moving.
Both sides agree that putting in place enabling laws for development of gas infrastructure will further enhance investments in growth.
It is commonplace to hear the phrase committee of the whole. But how much did you know of what goes on in there? Well, our legislative term for today is Committee of the Whole, and Chairman, House Committee on Rules and Business, Representative Fulata Hassan, will tell us more.
It is a committee, but it also encompasses all the 360 members. It is called a committee of the whole because it is a committee which involves all the 360 members, including Mr. Speaker. Everybody, all members of the House of Representatives are members of that committee. But the only difference is that committee of the whole is chaired by the Deputy Speaker. In the Senate, the committee of the whole is chaired by the Senate President himself. But in the House of Representatives, it is chaired by the Deputy Speaker. And then that is where a clause-by-clause consideration of a bill is made. If the bill has 100 clauses, the Deputy Speaker will now call clause 1. The members will go through the clause 1. If it is okay, if there are no corrections, no mistakes, then that clause will be passed. Then the government will go down, bam. Okay, passed, carried. Okay, if there are corrections, the correction member, any member can raise an observation. Yes, so this clause has a problem. Then there will be a debate as to whether to correct it or to leave it as it is. Now, if those who are sick saying that it should be corrected carry the day, then an amendment will be made, and then a motion to that effect will be passed, will be raised, and then passed. And then that is how all the clauses, if you have 100 clauses, clause by clause, it's a very serious job of scrutiny, word to word consideration of the entire bill. But after that, after the clause by clause consideration of the bill by the committee of the whole, now a motion will be now moved to revert to plenary. And then at plenary, once the House will dissolve into committee of the whole, the gavel and the mess. The mess, there are two stages. If it is at the upper listing, it is when that is during plenary. It will be in the up. During committee of the whole, it will be lowered to the second level. Okay? So after the close by close, then a motion will now be moved for reversion to plenary. Then the mess will be raised to the first level. Then the presiding officer will now go and sit at the speaker's side listening. Then the speaker now will now read all the listing, what transpired at the committee of the whole, and seek the approval of the entire House again. Seek the approval that they should now pass the bill at third reading. If those who say have the day, that's all it is part of it. If after all this exercise, the vote goes that it is nay, that's the end of that bill. Even though it has gone through first, second, and then at the third reading, it can fail. That's all, and that's the end of the bill.
As the House of Representatives resumed plenary, We engaged some Nigerians on what issues they would want members to focus their legislations on. Let's hear them.
They should be able to come out with a law that will make people to live together. If we want to live together as Nigerians, they should be able to look into that one critically.
I feel they should look into laws that will habilitate and increase the testing of citizens across the country to know their status of COVID-19.
Safety of people, that's the thing that they should emphasize on, especially these, because it's not just that you're enacting law, but to ensure that people are safe and secured.
Fundamental thing to be addressed in the country, one is citizenship. State of origin is not supposed to be in our country. We are all citizens of Nigeria. So wherever you find yourself, especially if you are giving birth to that place or you have lived more than 10 years in that place, you automatically become citizen of that place. If a Fulani man is giving birth to Enugu State, he automatically becomes from Enugu State. If an Igbo man is giving birth in Zamfara, he automatically comes from Zamfara. That will help to reduce tension in the country.
First of all, vaccine. There's a vaccine going on. People have been saying that it's bad, it's going to cause some, going to kill Africans. I don't know why Africans always attack, but the vaccine is real and people have been doing it. So the vaccine will help a lot. And there's self-test. Offices can put self-test at their offices, which is very important as well. Sanitize your hands, use your face masks, social distancing, like all those little stuff that we have been doing for a year. It's just time to do it all over again.
The law I want the National Assembly to pass as at next week, as they resumes, is number 1. They should enforce using of mask. They should make sure they enforce it because we don't want second lockdown. When people take to such instruction of using their masks, washing their hands, I think this pandemic will lower a bit.
I guess that we are talking about the enabling laws there. In the meantime, recognizing that electoral reform is a major preoccupation of the 9th House of Representatives, we caught up with the member representing Lokoja Kogi Federal Constituency of Kogi State, Shaba Ibrahim, to give us further insight into the workings of the House in this regard.
Because to be able to strengthen our democracy, the process of the emergence of leaders must not only be credible, but be seen to be so. So at this moment, the process is very, very much on the top gear, and we're hoping that the assenting authority, that's Mr. President, after all said and done, will append his signature to the proposed amendment, which is aimed at strengthening the electoral process and wearing it the toga of credibility that it deserves. You see, we really have to move away from the manual way of doing things. This is a digital age. It is a thing of surprise that in Nigeria up till this moment, the process of accreditation and registration of voters are mainly done manually. You have to go to the polling units and the presiding officer or whoever, the presiding clerk brings out a register and they have to go in manually. You know, the world has since departed from that path. We do have in place a robust attempt to change the narrative. The National Assembly has proposed bills that will entrench things like, well, we've made some progress, albeit slow, like in the process of using the card reader. But the most critical aspect now, if you agree with me, and the one that has attracted so much controversy, is the issue of transmission of results. Voting is critical, but the transmission of declared results from polling unit level or to the collection level to the ultimate destination where returns are made is a critical issue. If our target is to ensure that moving forward from 2023, all these things would have been put in place. And what is it going to help, apart from adding to the credibility of the process? It reduces the prospect for violence, thuggery, resource snatching, etc., etc. Don't forget that that system also allows the presiding officer the discretion to, invalidate results right from the unit if, in his opinion, it has fallen short of required standards. So, those are the main issues. The era where the judiciary should go cap in hand seeking for funds to run its affairs should end, for God's sake. You can't wish for a judiciary that's independent and yet is dependent on practically everything from another arm of government. That is not the intendment of the framers of our Constitution and those who gave us the system we're practicing. So I want to see an independent judiciary, because ultimately, that is the last hope of the common man, so to speak. So if you look at the court system, the court will be, so long as everybody, you leave a loophole that will make XYZ think that I've been cheated out of this process, he will approach the court. And don't forget that most politicians, especially in this climate, are incurable optimists. With the slightest of loopholes, they will approach the courts. Some with a view to manipulating the system. That also brings us back to the issue of strong institution. The judiciary of this country, under the circumstance, it has found itself still managing to keep its head above water.
You are watching You and Your Reps on the NTA. You can reach us via email at ntayouandyourreps@gmail.com or call us on 080-5222-0483. Now, how much do you know about your representatives? Well, let's help you, beginning from the top. Born in 1962, Femi Hakeem Gbajabiamila is a lawyer and member representing Surulere Federal Constituency of Lagos State since 2003. A member of the All Progressives Congress, Gbajabiamila was elected Speaker of the 9th House of Representatives in 2019. He had his education at the Igbobi College, Yaba, University of Lagos, and the Atlanta's John Marshall Law School, United States of America. This week on Standing Committees, we beam our searchlight on the House Committee on Capital Markets and Institutions. Representative Babangida Ibrahim is the chairman, House Committee on the Capital Markets. We sought to know exactly how involved the committee is with the Nigerian capital markets.
Our work as a committee is to supervise the regulators, the SEC, Security and Exchange Commission, and who regulates the capital market, the commodity exchange, who also regulate the commodity exchanges, and Security and Investment Tribunal is a tribunal that settles dispute between investors. So far so good, but you know, the capital market is a very sensitive market. If the economy is down, you find that the capital market also goes down with the economy. But fortunately for us, throughout the COVID-19 period, Nigerian capital market did very well. We did very well compared to other capital markets across the world. And what we are trying to do now as a committee, we are engaging the regulators, the SEC, and also the operators, the exchanges, to see how best can we improve the confidence. Let people have confidence in the capital market. Let them go invest in the capital market, because it's only when people believe in the market that they go and invest. If, for example, now you all this money market, somebody come and say, okay, invest 100 naira, you get 150. You see how people will be rushing. So that kind of confidence is what we want to build in the market. So I'm looking at most of the major challenges in the market. And we're also looking at the way we partner with the government. Like, for example, with the PIB coming in place, how can we, all those companies that will be established after the, whatever, the NMPC, how do we bring them into the capital market? All these idle funds in insurance, idle fund in pension, how do we bring them into the capital market? Because there are restrictions, the percentage of money that you can invest from the pension fund. So a lot of the money is just idle somewhere. So we are now looking at how best can we improve the confidence in the market and also improve the operation and the market and also make it more efficient. What we are trying to do, number one, to ensure that compliance, because compliance is what is key in the industry, where each operator is compliant with the regulations within the market. Number two, we are also trying to make sure that there's transparency. There's transparency in the market, because if there's transparency in the market, it will encourage investments. Because the exchanges are transparent in what they do, the registrars are also transparent in what they do. So if there's a transparency in the market, everybody will know that everything is in the open. So we want to, major issue we want to do, like I said, one, build confidence in the market, improve efficiency in the market, and transparency. And we're also looking at bringing more investors to come and invest in the market. We want to organize for the first time Nigerian International Investors Conference, where all key stakeholders will now come together and also invite people from other jurisdictions to come and tell us the performance of the market, what they do that we don't do. The major challenges I can say is mostly COVID, because most of the program we outlined we want to do, we couldn't do them because, like I said, it's a private sector base, and most of them are, almost 70% are in Lagos. And you know, the SEC has new management. There were a lot of change of the leadership in SEC, who are the major regulators. So you have to allow them to settle down, you have to allow them to understand even what is going on. So all those things affected the community.
And that does it for this edition of You and Your Reps. Thank you for keeping us company. My name is Victor Azu. Join us again.